Just take a look at the following statistics. 12.2% of the world's consumers live in India. Of the retail sector that caters to them, 70% is unorganized. So in a country with such a massive consumer base, there is little organization. How do you attract consumers? More importantly, how do you retain them? With 1 billion people around, where does brand loyalty even fit in?
If a customer has come all the way to your store, if she has experienced your services or products and liked them, it's far easier for a retailer to retain them rather than look for new customers.
It is going from just pure loyalty to actually retaining, and not just retaining, but actually upgrading customers.
The competition set in our case, the fact that only modern trade is just about 10% of the market, the competition is largely the general trade, which is outside the ambit of the modern trade. And we have seen a larger number of people coming in and walking in from general trade into modern trade outlets. These are the people who look forward to, very importantly, better guidance in terms of helping them with the choice of the handset that they're making. And that's extremely important.
There are 4 million Indians who are a part of various loyalty programs. In the last decade and a half, loyalty programs have penetrated every major sector, from hospitality to retail, and these inroads are not just limited to the urban markets.
If I look at the research that we've done, what it would say is the Indian consumer might become more cynical and more jaded over time with respect to the experiences that they see. I think right now everything is so fresh and exciting, and the rise of the emerging Indian consumers allowing them to gain new experiences with respect to organized retail, that in fact when we compare what we're seeing in some of the developed countries versus developing or emerging nations, what we see is that consumers here are excited about retail. They're very energized about what they're seeing versus, in North America, for example, where there's a real element of consumers tuning out to the marketing that they're receiving and being tired of what they're seeing.
The Indian consumer base, I think, is just likely to grow. You walk into malls and stores and shops and you don't believe that there is a recession on, which is true in the other countries. And with a lot of spending power, increasing spending power, I think this is really the time of the Indian consumers.
I think the time is perfect for an explosion in the loyalty industry. And 3 reasons why I say this. One is the competition that's coming in, the cost of media going up, the need to retain it, and the amount of data that is coming through the system. So all perfect, parameters for loyalty programs to become a success.
As far as the story of loyalty programs go, several have existed for many years now, and there have been many success stories. Shoppers Stop, for instance, was one of the pioneers of loyalty programs in India.
First Citizens, as the name suggests, is all about being first among equals, which is not to say that a non-first citizen wouldn't get treated well in our store. But for the first citizen, we would go to that extra mile in terms of really making him feel that he is first amongst all citizens. So that was, I would say, the basic thought process. As a store, we've always been about great merchandise, great experience, and more importantly, great service. And First Citizen is just an extension of that philosophy.
The success of Shoppers Stop is not just a one-off story. In a market as large as India, retail organizations realize that building brand loyalty is essential both to survive the market and also increase their own value as a brand.
Kai has a very niche target audience, but our customers are extremely discerning, and therefore we need to do a lot more to build engagement with the brand. The other advantage of our customers is that they get to interact with us much more frequently than they get to interact with any other brand. Typically they visit the clinic at least once a month for long periods of time, and therefore we do a lot of things to build engagement and loyalty with our customers. So some of these are regular activities, some of these are specific activities from time to time.
We have built our brand loyalty through superior service. Most of the people who walk into our stores seem to know a few things about a few handsets. but given the sheer number of handsets which are there and the new launches, most of the customers actually look forward to the advice on the options available and then help them in navigating through all the choices and arriving at the final choice.
India, a nascent market for loyalty program, holds tremendous potential, especially given the unparalleled access to information that the consumer has. So on one hand, you have an evolving Indian market. On the other hand, you have an evolving and demanding consumer base. Will this be the perfect setting for loyalty programs to step in? We'll find out after the break. The coming decade is poised to receive a young India. Over 500 million people under the age of 24, higher earning capacity, better spending parity, and more importantly, a fascination for all things fancy. And that makes a promising future for brand loyalty.
What's interesting is that new consumers are fundamentally very trusting of business brands, more trusting than some of the results we've seen in Brazil and again in some of the developed countries that we looked at. And so there's a real opportunity for Indian brands and domestic brands to leverage that interest and continue to build upon that trust.
But there is one major problem: the Indian consumer. Unlike the West, the Indian market is heterogeneous, with class, education, language, caste and local traditions playing a major role. All these also work in addition to the standard marketing dimensions used in the West.
Loyalty programs actually in India have always had a challenge. There have been couple of challenges that occur are the lack of data. The lack of the organized list market, recognizing and identifying where to acquire your customers, and of course on the operation front, the whole delivery of the loyalty promise. All of these have been because of the ecosystem that we operate in.
Loyalty One, a company that specializes in loyalty strategy and programs, customer analytics and relationship marketing services, believes that key to winning loyalty programs in India is a multi-pronged approach.
To run your own standalone program, your fixed costs of running that program are so high that you have very little money left over to offer anything back to the consumer. I think in a coalition program, number one is it offsets your fixed costs and allows you to reward the customer better. Number two is because you're working across your everyday purchases, as we say, it allows the customer to reach attainability faster.
We spend a lot of time in understanding the systems at the retail or any other. It's not just retail, it's also telecom and banks, and understanding what their systems are, customizing our program to them so that the data that we capture is accurate and the frontliners are trained on a regular basis so that there is a consistent message across. So there's a lot of, in fact, we have spent almost a year and a half in getting all our systems right, understanding and customizing.
However, there are other aspects of that you need to evaluate for your choice of loyalty programs, whether you do a standalone program or a coalition. You need to evaluate attainability of your rewards and benefits. Can you sustain an interest with the end consumer as a single brand, or do you need to participate in a coalition? So these are some of the critical elements.
There are some cruel statistics out there. 70% of Indian market is unorganized. Majority of 4 million loyalty customers are based in urban areas. How easy would it be to build loyalty on a large scale?
Unorganized, or the mom and pops here, is that in a lot of ways what we believe about loyalty is that a loyalty program is a way for a company with thousands of employees to better understand their customer. And in fact, what you see in the mom and pops is that they understand who the customers are. They know very well when somebody calls down and says, I need this, that, or the other, they use their own network to actually provide that product through. So my sense is either one of two things will have to happen. One, technology will have to change in such a way that it makes it reasonable and feasible to involve unorganized retail in a program like organized retail would execute it. Or the other option would be that the programs that would be operated through that marketplace will be operated on the brands that are sold through, because as we know, all the major brands get sold through that network.
Early days, there were still very, very small bases of consumers, yeah, and they were in the 100,000s. Today, you'll often hear programs crossing 500,000, a couple of million, and the number of consumers that we can access, therefore, has increased manifold. You know, today, if you look at the telecom industry, 600 million plus subscribers, all accessible with an address, with a telephone number. The email, number of email consumers in the country is slated to have crossed 100 million users. So with all of them, we have mobile numbers, email IDs, and are able to communicate much more efficiently, quicker, very quick off the ground, so we can react instantaneously, and it reduces the cost overall of the communication to these.
They say that the Indian consumer shifts loyalties every 25 kilometers and every 10 rupees. So given the shifty Indian loyalty values, how do you pin the Indian consumer down? We'll find out after the break. So who is the Indian consumer? Is it the teenager who travels in a Mumbai local, wears fashionable clothes and watches movie in a movieplex? Or is it the housewife who is in a constant lookout for great deals and shops in a supermarket? The answer to all these questions is consumer analytics.
You need to begin to connect with the consumer. You need to understand how they're shopping and how they're using your products and services, and then you need to find a way to connect with them in a value exchange, which allows the consumer to see that you're reflecting back on them the way that they use your products and services and the value and the way that they want to get value out of that relationship. So building that direct relationship will be critical.
From a loyalty perspective, creating the right level of engagement with the customer. So, which is, for example, if you had bought a suit or a jacket from us a week back, this week you would have received a message from us saying that, sir, you bought a suit from us last week, and here is a great collection of shirts across brands. They would have the Arrows, the Louis Philippe's, Van Heusen's of the world, the US Polos. These are various brands of shirts, because we have an insight that when a customer buys a suit, within 15 days of purchase, he is actually buying other accessories.
On an average, we deal with 8 to 10 different customer segments every month. So we do extensive segmentation basis their transaction behavior, age, demographics. In fact, no program is run uniformly across all the 4 regions of India. So while we communicate to 8 to 10 different customer segments, we have a list of 25 segments that we actively track within our base of existing customers.
Customer analytics is imperative for a loyalty program to succeed. Loyalty One, for example, understands and utilizes customer insights derived from sophisticated data analysis, helping brands build engagement, drive sales growth, and boost profitability.
It's not just about creating points. It's about recognizing consumer behavior and then going back to them with an offer that is relevant. So that's the key difference. Therefore, that means that no matter how homogeneous or heterogeneous your audience is, you are trying to identify the customer almost on a one-on-one basis. The ideal is obviously one-on-one, but as many clusters as possible.
Customer information is used to really understand and gain insight into how consumers shop your stores, how they interact with your brand. The next step after that is to say, how do I actually communicate a different value proposition to them and engage them in a conversation about the brand, which is really taking traditional marketing more into a direct context. And then the last step is when companies actually look at the customer information and use it to inform the way they go to market, the strategies, the way their customer service is provided. And if you take it all the way to its ultimate opportunity, it can transform the way that brands actually come to market and provide a much fuller value proposition for the consumer.
It's not just analyzing customers' purchasing pattern, but also maintaining constant communication with them that forms the basis of retaining customers. Retailers today also understand and admit that loyalty can't be built on the basis of a few discounts here and there. Retailers understand that there are more customers who value services more than just seasonal discounts.
Loyalty programs have to build engagement with the customers. They have to be a combination of excellent service and benefits which are relevant to the customer. That's the only way to go, because for instance in a brand like us, which is a retail brand, we make sure that the loyalty program extends beyond just getting them to the clinic. So when they come to the clinic, it's the way they are treated, the way they are greeted. If they want an appointment on priority, the fact that we can give them an appointment on priority, these are these intangible factors which brands need to build in a loyalty program going forward.
Very importantly, we build our loyalty with them through not just service, but post that we actually take care of their problems in case they have a problem with the handset. And we have seen now with the amount of time that is there between purchase of two handsets getting crunched, we are seeing that people are coming back more frequently, and they come back to places that they are comfortable with.
Internet and explosion of smartphones have made communicating with customers much easier. Gone are the days of bulky mailers that had to be sent to every customer. But is technology making communication too impersonal and hence hurting brand loyalty?
The amount of communication in the market today is humongous. And there is, unlike maybe 5 years, 8 years back when you could happily communicate one size fits all, I think that has changed very substantially. So what you communicate is based on purchase behavior that you've tracked in the past, also how you communicate. So I'll give you a quick example of a mailer we are actually in the process of sending out very soon, which actually says reserved, for example, if you are Miss Kapoor, so it would say reserved for the Kapoor family, pre-printed. Now we're doing this over a very large base, so it's a very execution unfriendly, but we figured out a way to get this right. But what we do know is that as a customer, if you received something so personalized as this, you'll at least open it, and vis-a-vis a mailer which you might otherwise, because you are getting so much of mail from people. So our SMSs, our emails are all moving towards a personalization, not just in terms of name, but in terms of what we think might interest you.
Let's look at what internet can do for you. On the internet, you have of course the ability to compare, so you can pick up 2 or 3 handsets and actually you will get a comparative chart. But at the same point of time, internet by its very definition is inanimate. So therefore there is no guiding. You can have FAQs, as many FAQs as you want, but you need to largely know which handset you want. You can't be going there and trying and exploring too much.
The Indian retail industry is expected to grow to about $800 billion by 2015, with more than 20% being contributed by the organized retail formats. There are challenges, but the Indian retailers have realized one thing: a loyal consumer will add more value than the others. That is, in the long run, mastering the art of consumer engagement will build consumer relationships that will last beyond the seasonal sale. That is, at the end of the day, the foundation of loyalty is trust, and it is trust that builds great brands.